Hello guys, I'm Nshimiyimana. I'm the product design lead at Exus Limited. I'm with...
Hello, my name is Nduwayo Josue and I'm a product designer here at Exus, and welcome to UX
Dive. So in this episode, we're going to discuss about the basic skills a UX designer must have, and also see how does the design process looks like for a UX designer from the beginning to the end. So let's get started. So a quick one. So what do you think are the best skills a UX designer must have, in your opinion?
Well, to me, I think a really obvious thing is design skills, or let me say design thinking skills, because in the long run, you need design skills, but at the beginning, you just need the ability to think of stuff in a design way. That's a stupid statement. So the idea of being able to think of things in like, okay, I need to make something. How do I now make it? I think that's like a skill that is necessary for UX designer. My second thing, for me, would be like empathy, is what I'll call it, is like the ability to put yourself in the shoes of a user, because ultimately the UX that you're designing is for the user experience. So yeah, you're ultimately designing for a user. So you need to be able to empathize with what the user is experiencing and design for them. Yeah. What are your skills?
So for me, I would like to start with, like, if someone have that problem solving skill set or mindset, for me that is a plus. The reason being, whatever we do as UX designers, at the end we want to solve a given problem, a given existing problem. So for me, problem solving skills comes first, and then second, it's like now the ability or that curiosity to be able to observe a situation and think like, what is behind this? For instance, if it's this good, is it a product or what?
I mean, it is a product.
Okay, if it's this product, so I should be able to ask myself, why did they choose the white color? Why does it have this shape? What does it do? Etc. That kind of thinking. And then lastly, it's now the ability to, as you said, it's kind of linked to empathy, but now for me, I'll say the ability to understand like user needs, to observe a situation and see like why are the users doing this, why are they behaving like this, and why are they providing this kind of like feedback, etc.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't think, well, actually, I guess you kind of just put it aside. How important do you think design is, or design skills, as opposed to like? Well,
it's also important, but for me, I believe design thinking or designing, it can be run along the process. It's not something you necessarily have to have in order to start doing UX design. So it's something you can learn as you go.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's also key. I agree with you.
But like later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So moving forward, so assume now you have a product. Let's say it's a food delivery app. You got a job or you join a team. It's their product they are working on, and then you are the one in charge of designing its UX. So you are given, let's say, 2 weeks. So I want to understand like what you do from day one until the design is final, or even the product is out and launched. Yeah.
Well, I think there are two phases. There's the design phase, and then there's the iteration phase, right? So the design phase is mostly on my part, and then the iteration phase is later on when you've rolled out the product and now you're getting feedback and you're like making iterations. So my design phase I break it down into actually know how many, but anyway. So I start from breaking down what I need to do or what I need to design. So if I need to design, so you said food delivery app. So if I need to design login page, sign up page, a home page where you have all the food, and a cart page and a checkout, right? So I'm gonna break it down into 2 phases, because you said it's 2 weeks. So I'll have, say, okay, in 1 week I'm gonna design login, sign up, and home. Let's just say that. And then the second week I'm gonna design the cart and checkout.
On that, so do you have any criteria used for that breakdown, or you just go ahead and do the breakdown?
Well, I think it kind of links to a later stage where you do research into the industry and what's common in the industry. But for me, I just break it down in terms of what I think is the necessary things. And I think when I get to the later stage of doing research, I start eliminating. If I see there's certain things that I put in which aren't necessary, I just eliminate those.
Okay.
So from the wireframing part, I just write down, okay, I need this, and that. And then from there, that's when I start doing now the research into, okay, so in the industry, they have this that I wrote down, but they don't have this, or they have this that I didn't think of. So I now change my, my breakdown into what I'm gonna need to add in. And then from there, that's when I start designing. And then research also plays a big part in that, a big role in that, because you're gonna have to think of...
By the way, speaking of the research, I've noticed many companies here, we don't value that stage of research. Like, how do you handle that situation? Like, I know some clients or some companies can even give you a product and they tell you that we need this after three days or 4 days. So how do you work around in that kind of situation? You won't have time for doing the research, and you know that if you don't do research, it might even affect
my timeline.
Yes.
Well, I think you have to be able to communicate. If your timeline only allows you to do, say, the research, that needs to be like front and center. You need to be like, okay, they give you a timeline and straight away you're like, okay, I don't think I can do that in this amount of time because I need to do research. If they're really, really pushing it, then I'll try to kind of shorten the research period and make it a lot quicker. And that way I can just get the main points of, like if I'm researching into a certain industry, I do just the main points. So either you communicate or you shorten your timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Maybe to add on what he said, also another way which works best, like if, at least for me, if there is no time for research, I at least observe like the existing similar product and see like what can I get from there. It's not like a deep research, but it's not a research per se, but also that observation can work as a research if there is an existing similar product. Actually, and that might even save your time even very, very good.
Yeah, actually that plays into, for example, like when I'm trying to break it down, it's like, for example, with food ordering apps. If it's apps that you've already interacted with, you already have kind of like a first-hand experience. And so you can kind of draw from that as a preliminary research and use that to inform your decision on the breakdown.
Okay. Yeah, so moving on, after the research?
After the research, you have the designing phase where you're gonna be, using the research to inform your decisions on colors, I guess. And you're going to try to kind of play with the industry, but also following the brand guidelines. And so, from there you have the design, and then after that, I do now internal tests. So once there's a design, I have to do a presentation of the product that I have. And then the client has to be happy, right? Whatever that means. And from there, I need to get feedback from them and try to make variations of that based on their feedback. So oftentimes you find there's either the design is changing completely, or perhaps we're doing these different colors or da-da-da. So it varies depending on what we're designing or creating, but from there, that's when I think the iteration phase starts. So once I've started testing, I put that in the iteration phase, because whether it's internal, external testing, it's still, I'm making iterations of my initial design. So from there, there's internal testing. And then once the clients are happy, we do external testing where we roll it out and get feedback from users. And then from there, you just kind of get feedback from users and just improve on the design, however you like.
So that's it, guys.
So that was this week's, I don't know what the timeline is, but that was this episode of UX Dive. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Like, share, and subscribe. And comment down below what your process is for all the UX designers out there. Even designers, artists, all of you. Let us know what your processes are. And whether you agree or disagree with us, let us know. And we'll see you in the next episode.